Genesis, what are some of those expectations that society imparts on men and boys?
Now, for example, where I come from, they say that a man, you're supposed to be strong. Now, I am born naturally weak. I don't look like Bob Solo. Bob Solo looks muscular, looks very huge. He's very tall like this. So, if at all I come, I show up, and I'm this small. I'm not of the expected height. I don't look strong as the society says. So they say, koka saja saja, like, man, I'm not a man. That's toxic masculinity.
It becomes toxic when a man is using dominance for the authority that they have. They use it to dominate, but dominating negatively. It's not bad for a man to know that they are leaders, for a man to know that they have certain authority in a society, because we may never be the same sometimes in life. I work every day because I am not pregnant. I've not gone to give birth. But there's a time when a woman cannot go to work. That time is there. But now when a man it's good for a man to provide for them. And we don't put these things on them. They are the ones who know them themselves. And even when a man rapes a person, they be like, Oli musajja, lwaki obadde omusembereza omwana, lwaki obadde oyambadde bubi. Such statements. But now if a man can know that they should provide for the family, you should partner in parenting if you have a kid with somebody. That is all we need from them.
Josh, what are some of those other expectations that are expected of men and boys in your community?
For them, what they think as a community, they think that we don't break down. First of all, as you have heard her saying that there are single mothers saying out there, but how many boys are out that are a single father? We just keep quiet because we are used to that, and the society takes us like that okay, as a man you're supposed to behave that way, you're not supposed to utter out anything, you're not supposed to say anything. And if I'm to say that, okay, now let's gather men here and start discussing about this, no one will say anything. But once you bring women here, for them they will speak because they know how to speak, and boys, for us all men, we just keep quiet. But it's the society right from the creation that we were created to be leaders, and we just embrace that. But we also break down at time T that the society, yes, we are groomed like that, but we are also humans. We are not robots that at time T I'm going to charge, then I get back to what, to the track. But it's the society, and those are the norms that we are following.
There is a question you asked Joash, that why is it like that men don't want to speak up? I personally think men fear to be judged, because at a time he can come to his wife, let me say he has gone to work and totally money has refused. Because there is a time you go to work, every day you leave the house, you're going to work, but you fail to get the money, or else the money goes in other ways. But then he will not tell the wife that, you know what, Mamio, I don't have money these days. Things are not good. Things are not good on my side. So he thinks when he tells the woman will be like, no, you took the money to other women. Why are you like that? What? So for me, I think these days men fear just to be judged. So yeah, that is why they don't speak up.
I think it's also about sexual entitlement. So men feel like they have it all. And also this thing is happening so much in marriage, where like men are also actually forcing their ladies to have sex, because they feel like you're mine, your body is mine, I can have it anytime I want. There's nothing like a mutual agreement.
So Francis, how can we then encourage positive masculinity, and how can we fight these negative norms that are promoting toxic masculinity? You said men should cry, which is okay, but how can we encourage men to feel the way they want to feel?
Yeah, so one of the ways we can encourage these things to be put out there is what we are doing right now. So I'm telling Charlotte that if I cry and heal, it will help me, such as when I find you, we are married, and I don't hit you, like I don't find another way to express my emotions negatively. If I cry, it will help me at least heal or calm down, so that when we have a small argument, I don't hit you. So we should start by talking about some of these things. It will really help a lot.
As a man, okabachi. I mean, okabachi. What we mean okabya? There are some things that are supposed to make you cry, But as a man, okay, tell me one thing that can make you cry. As a man.
The process of crying does not happen out of the blue. You're crying because you're overwhelmed with your emotions. One, you can't control them, and as a man, you can't let your guard down. It's what society expects from you. That's why I don't really, unless I was young, but when I grew up, I don't really remember crying, even when the worst happens, and I don't really picture myself crying with beards. What do you mean I'm going to cry? What is going to make me cry? And it doesn't necessarily mean I don't hurt. Yes, I hurt, I have pain, but I just have different ways of expressing my pain as opposed to probably a lady. Because I'm not emotional, I'm not going to break down and cry. I could probably break down and do other things, but not necessarily cry.
So from what you're saying, it seems there are many ideas of who a man is in our communities. So I want to pose a question to all of us. How can we help each other challenge these different harmful ideas people have about men in our communities? Because from what you're saying, it's like a man is many things which are bad and good, yeah? So how can we challenge these different harmful ideas?
I personally think if you're a man, please, if you've gotten issues at work, come share with your wife. The reason as to why men are reserved these days is because they always fear to be judged. He's going to be like, if I tell this woman that I this and this went throughout my day, she's going to be like, why did that happen? Why couldn't you solve that? As a man, why didn't you solve that? So that is why most of them stay reserved. And for me, one key takeaway for me, or a strategy I would ask stakeholders to use is to also educate men about respect and consent for women.
The whole thing should start with making these men realize that, okay, maybe you actually need this. The same thing they did for women. For women to come up and take up their roles, they had to first make them understand that you too can be a doctor, you too can be a lawyer, you too can do this. You have to first make someone understand something before you try and force an idea or bring up an idea to them.
So expectations are there, but when you strike a balance and you make me your friend, I'll understand you, and you also understand me that she's now in maternity leave. If they've given her leave at work, why won't I support her? If they've, in fact, there's some policies that I read that they give also a man leave when your woman is going to give birth. What are you going to do in that leave?
As we wind up, I want everyone to give me one way we can challenge these different harmful norms that promote toxic masculinity in our communities.
Mine is, I feel like the ladies are supposed to be a safe place. Because I mean, if you want a man to actually maybe be friends with you, are you friendable enough? Like, I mean, you're so quarrelsome, you have some kind of bad manners, you have a very bad attitude, you're moody all the time. So how do you expect this man to like cling along with you? How do you expect him to tell you his problems if I instead out that way? So sometimes I feel like we have to work on ourselves, and also fina okufirizanti twetaaga okukyuka by all means if we really want things to work out. Sometimes the problem is us, not the men.
I believe making them understand that these are problems that need to be solved, because we cannot solve these problems without them first understanding how important or how heavy they affect them.
By encouraging communication between two people, between a man and a woman, and also encouraging being supportive.
Yeah, well, for me, I feel we should promote expression of emotions and vulnerability. We should promote that. It should be okay for someone to express their emotions and feel vulnerable at one time.
I urge all of us to promote positive masculinity in our communities. So I encourage all of us to go and challenge those negative traits, and let's have men who can be men. Yeah, and of course, from the conversations we had about the different ideas of who a man is, but I believe by the end of this conversation, we all agree that men are also human and they need to be supported.